a dark young man was seen running from the police, who were chasing him on foot. After several minutes of chasing, he ran into a busy market and hid himself. The police got to the market and couldn't find him, so they left. Hi. My name is Uncle Sam. Before we get deeper into this story, please subscribe, like, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell, so you can be notified once we drop a new story. Thank you. Once upon a time, in a small city in Africa, lived a young man named Lucky. Lucky has just relocated from the village to the city for a better life. But it seems luck has not been on his side, as he has just been accused of attempted murder and is being chased by the police. After several minutes of chasing, Lucky ran into a busy market and hid himself. The police got to the market and couldn't find him, so they left. They stayed in his hideout till the day was dark and he came out and went home. On his way home, the whole thing came back to him. Thoughts filled his heart on what he could do next. Should he return to the village and be called a failure? Or should he stay in the city that is trying to lock him up and find a way to prove his innocence? Lucky stays with his friend Ben, who is a car mechanic. He has lived in the city for just 7 months and he had never had a steady job that could help him build his dream. Lucky has done several piece jobs, but nothing too serious, until he had an interview at the mortuary, without knowing it was a mortuary. When he found out that his job is to wash dead bodies, at first, he rejected the job. But when things became too hard, he didn't have a choice but to accept it. He has barely worked there for 3 months before the incident that led to him being wanted by the police. As he walked in the lonely path, he remembered his dreams of becoming a big-time businessman. His dream was to be the first person that would build a mall in his community, import and export goods to better the lives of the people in his community. But his dreams looked impossible from where he is at the moment. How can I achieve my dreams from prison? These people will lock me up and throw away the keys, and there is nothing Ben can do. He is just a poor mechanic. He recounted his life in the city and what led to the police chasing him. As he got to the house that night and knocked on the door, Ben opened, and the police were waiting for him inside the house. He wanted to run, but he was surrounded and arrested that night. The next day, Ben was kept in the police holding cell waiting for his court case. The lady he tried to kill was a very rich woman, and the police are doing everything to make sure Lucky goes to jail. In the afternoon, Ben came with a lawyer to find out what happened, but the police would not allow Ben to see Lucky. Only the lawyer was allowed to speak to Lucky and prepare him for the court case. As the lawyer came to see Lucky in the holding cell, he introduced himself as Mr. Kola. Then he said to Lucky, "Please, young man, narrate the whole story from the beginning, so we can find a way to get you out of here. And I hope your friend has told you about my balance." Lucky said yes, he has, not knowing how much the balance was. He just wanted to get out of the horrible cell. Lucky started, "I came from the village 7 months ago to look for a better life here in the city, so my friend Ben accommodates me. He brought me to work with him in the mechanic workshop where he works. I was willing to learn, but after a while I realized the job was not for me. Since then I have been looking for a job here in the city. I have done several piece jobs just to try and survive. Until one day I found this place for the mortuary attendant, and the job is washing dead people. I hesitated, but when life hit hard, I had no choice but to accept the job. As I worked, I soon became good at the job. I like the job, because dead people don't complain. Whether you wash them well or not, your job is done. Until this particular day, a dead woman complained and got me fired, and that is how I landed here." The lawyer asked, "So how did it really happen?" Lucky continued, "We are paid every week, so we get paid every Saturday after work. If we work on Sundays, it is counted as extra time and we get paid more for Sunday work. So this particular week, I needed money to pay my part of the house rent, and the landlord was threatening to kick us out if I don't pay. Ben has paid his half, but mine usually come late, and because of that the landlord was threatening to kick us out if I don't pay the balance that Saturday evening as I promised. So why do you always pay late? The lawyer caller asked. I have a girlfriend, her name is Busy. It's like she knows exactly when I get paid and she will always have one problem or the other, so I will help her with part of my salary, and whatever I am left with is never enough for the rent and for my feeding. So you gave your rent money to your girlfriend Busy. Lucky kept quiet for a while, then he spoke. Actually sir, it is my fault, I really love this Busy girl. After I was paid on Saturday, immediately I got home, Busy came and was crying that she needed money to take her mother to the hospital, that her mother is very sick, so I had pity on her and gave her all the money I was paid. You know how these girls behave, if I don't help it will look like I am not a caring boyfriend. So how did you plan to pay the rent, after you gave her all the money? The lawyer asked. Lucky replied, I am a very religious man, and I serve a living God. I prayed and told God I needed a miracle at work so I can get my bonus that Sunday to pay the rent, so that is the reason I went to work on Sunday. I needed to wash at least 5 dead bodies for me to be able to pay the rent that Sunday afternoon. I prayed that God should do a miracle for me. My first prayer was that other workers should not come that Sunday, and glory be to God, I came alone. I also prayed that God should bring at least 5 dead bodies for me to wash that Sunday, so that it will be enough for the money I needed, and extra, and to God be the glory. I found 5 dead people available. It was a big testimony for me. I was very happy that God has answered my prayers. It was 3 men, a small boy and that woman that died, so I started from the small boy, then the 3 men. I saved the woman for last. When I got to her, there was blood all over her face. It's like she hit her head somewhere in the car accident she had, so I was about to take off her clothes and she woke up. I know it is a miracle that she woke up, because what God cannot do does not exist. But her miracle will spoil my own miracle because it will short my money. So, I told her to lay down, let me wash her first, then when I finish, I will give her a sign for her to rise up, so that I will get paid for completing my job. But she didn't listen to me, she was just asking me, why am I here? Where am I? What am I doing here? So as I was trying to put her down to lay her head on the bed, my hand was around her neck. I was not trying to kill her, she is already dead, so there is no way I can kill a dead person. That was how she shouted, and the security ran in, and she got up and started shouting that I was trying to kill her. We explained to the management, and as we were still speaking, she asked the security man to call the police. I was still trying to explain and the police came. She told them to arrest me. That was how I ran for my life. The lawyer said, I think you should be able to come out on bail, so we will fight for your bail and then we will prepare you for the case. Lucky asked, can we not beg her to drop the case? The lawyer smiled and said, my friend, this woman is suing you for attempted murder, and if we are to settle out of court, you will need to pay her 5 million for the stress you put her through. Lucky shouted, 5 million? For what? Even if she sells my body parts, she can't get 5 million, is there no other way? The lawyer said, I will see and get back to you. He stood up and left. Lucky spent 3 days in the police holding cell, and Ben managed to visit him once. When he asked Ben about Busy, his girlfriend, Ben told him he went to her place to visit her and tell her what is going on. He found her with her sugar daddy, that Busy is cheating on him. Lucky didn't want to believe it, but Busy never came to visit him, which made him sad and regret ever falling in love with her. It was like he left the village with a dream and ended up with women as distractions. He was scared he might end up going to jail. If only he had listened to Ben and left that busy girl alone, he would not be in the mess he is in at the moment. 3 days passed quickly, but it was like 3 years for Lucky. During the court hearing, Lucky pleaded not guilty and the lawyer managed to get him out on bail, but the trial of the case was placed in 2 weeks. As Lucky and Ben came outside the courtroom, Ben saw the rich woman who is suing Lucky standing next to her car crying. Ben tapped Lucky and pointed at the woman. Lucky immediately went over to speak to her. Lucky came to her and said, "Madam, I am really sorry for what happened back at the mortuary. I didn't mean to cause you any harm. Please forgive me. If I have 5 million right now, I will give it to you and walk away from this case. For what you have gone through you deserve more, but I am truly sorry. Stop crying, everything will be fine." She turned to Lucky and said, "Thank you. I didn't expect such kind words from you." Lucky replied, "I am not a bad person, it's just that we didn't meet on the right path, but I am truly sorry for everything, stop crying." She said to him, "I am not crying because of this case. I just received a call from my mechanic that my car brakes was tampered with. That was why I lost control and had the accident. From the evidence we have been gathering, it is now obvious that my husband tried to kill me so he can inherit all my properties. You see, I am the only child of my parents. I never knew my mother. My father handed over all their companies and properties to me. Then when I got married, before my father died, he made my husband the general manager of his real estate company, while I remained as the CEO of the entire company. We are into real estate and we have several houses all over the country. 2 years ago, my husband started complaining that I have not been able to give him children. We visited the doctor and he said I am fine, but I didn't know why I'm not falling pregnant. So I guess my husband got tired of waiting for me to fall pregnant and decided to get rid of me. If we had a divorce, he would not get much, so he planned to kill me and take all my properties and marry someone else." Lucky was shocked. He asked her, "So what will you do now?" She said, "I will sue him." Lucky shouted, "Sue again? Why do you like to sue everybody? Did you study zoology in school?" The lady started laughing. She said, "No, I didn't study zoology because there is no course like that." Lucky continued, "Or is your name Susanna?" She busted into laughter and said, "Yes. My name is Susan, not Susanna." Lucky said, "I thought as much, so the short form of your name is Madam Sue. The way you sue people is too much. Why don't you just gather enough evidence and arrest him?" She thought for a while and said, "I think it is a good idea." Ben shouted to Lucky from where he was standing and said, "We have to go." So Lucky told the lady, "I am sorry once more, I have to go now. I wish you all the best with your husband, and please take it easy with me in court. I didn't really mean to hurt you." The next day, Ben left for work early while Lucky was still in the house sleeping. He had not had a good sleep in 3 days. He was in a deep sleep when he heard a knock at the door. He refused to answer and the person kept knocking till he got up and opened the door. It was the lawyer. He told him he has good news, that Madam Susan had dropped the case against him, so there will not be any court case anymore. Lucky was happy and relieved. He thanked the lawyer for all his help, and the lawyer asked him, "So where is my balance?" Lucky said, "What balance? I don't know the arrangement you made with Ben." The lawyer said, "Ben paid me half and said when I get you released you will give me the balance. And if I will represent you at the trial, then I will charge another fee. So, since the case is thrown out, I will need my balance for getting you out on bail and standing for you in court." Lucky asked, "How much is the balance?" The lawyer said, "It's 20,000. Ben paid 20,000. Lucky shouted 40,000 just to get me out. So if this case had gone to trial, you will sell me to collect your money. The lawyer said, well, it's the agreed price, and Ben said you will pay. Lucky quickly called Ben on the phone. Ben told him, yes, I told him you will pay the balance. I had to borrow money from my boss here at work to be able to pay the first 20,000, so you will have to come up with the balance. When I was warning you about that girl you were giving all your money, you didn't listen. He dropped the call. The lawyer looked at him and said, my friend, if I don't get my money in the next 2 days, I will have to arrest you because that is a breach of agreement. Lucky shouted, arrest again. What is wrong with you people in this city? Any small thing, you arrest. Okay, come in 2 days, I will come up with the money. As the lawyer left, Lucky shut the door and said to himself, why did my parents name me Lucky? What is lucky about my life? They should have named me Badmos because only bad things happen to me. Is this how I am going to fulfill my dreams? I am going back to the village now. If it means walking all the way back, I am going back. He that fights and runs away, lives to fight another day. I will try to fight from the village. He packed his bags and left for the village. A week passed and Ben kept on calling Lucky, but he didn't pick his calls. One hot afternoon, Lucky was in his sitting room in the village when he heard a knock at the door. As he opened, Ben came in with the lawyer and Madam Susan. Lucky was scared. He immediately started asking Ben for forgiveness. He said, I am sorry for everything, for even coming to the city and causing all these problems for you. Please, I don't want to go to jail. Why did you bring this lawyer to my house and also Madam Susan here? I will pay whatever I owe. You guys should just give me time. Ben told him it's fine, that Madam Susan and the lawyer came to see him for another reason. He said Madam Susan has paid the lawyer, so that is not why they are there to see him. Then Madam Susan said to him, Lucky, after the time you spoke to me outside the courtroom, I have been thinking about you. You have a good heart and I thank you for not reacting badly toward me even though I tried to lock you up. Don't worry about the lawyer, I have settled the bills for you. The reason I'm here with the lawyer is that your friend here, Ben, told me about your dreams of building a mall here in the village and importing goods, and after how you spoke to me, I want to partner with you so we can make your dream come true. If you agree, the lawyer is here to help draft an agreement for you and I, then we can sign and get to work. Lucky looked at them confused. He asked Ben what is going on. Ben said, well, we will talk about how you ran and left me to deal with your mess alone, but first. Madam Susan came looking for you and found the police with the lawyer at my place also looking for you. They wanted to arrest me because of the balance, so she paid him the money. Then we had a meeting and I told her your dreams and why you came to the city. Since Madam Susan is into real estate and properties, she got interested in your dreams. That is why we are here. So my brother, this is for real. Lucky became excited. Then he said, Madam, what of your husband? How did you handle things? She said her husband is now in jail. They got enough evidence and put him away for good. Ben jumped in and said, guess what? Her husband was the one dating your girlfriend. She was going to leave you and marry him if Madam Susan had died in that car accident. Lucky was so happy, he said, but why bring the same lawyer that wanted to arrest me because of money? The lawyer jumped in and said, my friend, I was only asking for what belongs to me, for my services. I am sorry if you felt bad about it. It was just business and nothing personal. Ben said, also why will you do business with the same woman that you were trying to kill? They all started laughing. Days passed and they signed the deal. The project started and the mall was in progress. The whole villagers that laughed at Lucky for returning to the village a loser were now singing his praises. As the work progressed, Lucky fell in love with Susan, who is 2 years older than him, As they started a relationship, she got pregnant. She was so excited because she has never been pregnant before in her life. That was one of the reasons her husband wanted her dead so he can remarry. When she gave Lucky the news, he proposed to her immediately, and after 3 months they got married. Lucky finally achieved his dreams as the first man to build a mall in his community and also did his import and export of goods. Ben left the city to become Lucky's personal assistant, and the lawyer oversees the project finance from the city. Story ends. Moral of the story: never give up in life. No matter how bad things looks, your light will always shine. Don't forget, it takes darkness to bring out the beauty in light. The darker it gets, the brighter your light will shine. Have faith and keep moving, because what God cannot do, does not exist. I remain Uncle Sam. Stay safe.